Part 2 of Lesson 1-4, like terms and the distributive property, focuses on like terms. The essential question for this lesson is how do you determine if terms are like terms? The definition of like terms are terms with either similar variables or similar variables and exponents. The coefficient is the number in front of the variable. First thing we're going to do is figure out what like terms are. And you'll see we have 5 different circles up on the screen. What we're going to do is we're going to drag all of the terms that are alike into the same circle. So I'm going to start with 7y to the third. Now if you remember the definition of like terms, terms are alike if they have the same variable or the same variable and exponent. So with 7y to the third power, we have to find another term that also has y to the third power. So 16y to the third would work. And it looks like that's our only y cubed term. So now we're going to pick another one. I'm going to take the x squared and drag it to a new circle. Now what you have to look for is a term that has x and squared. It has to have the same variable and the same exponent. The only one with an x and a squared next to it is 7x squared. I'll pick another one, 9y. This one doesn't have any exponents, so all I have to look for is another term with the same variable. 6y would work, and so would 4y. Then I'm going to take my 13x, drag it into the next circle. I need to find another term that has an x. 5x would work. And then 22 is just a number by itself, no variable, so 4 is also like 22. The other vocab word that we talked about on the last page was the coefficient. And I said the coefficient is the number in front of the variable. So 7 would be a coefficient, 16, 9, 6, 13, 5, 7, and then x squared, the number that always goes in front of a variable if nothing is there, is 1. So those would be all of our coefficients. All right, let's get into some examples of combining like terms. We've got 5 of them here. We'll start with number 1. One strategy I like to use when combining like terms is underlining. So what that means is I'm going to pick my first term and I'm going to underline it once, 3x. Other terms that are like 3x would have to have the same variable, so 2x. So I'm going to underline both of those once. Then I'm left with 5 and 6. 5 and 6 are not like terms with 2x, so I'm not, and 3x, so I'm not going to put one line underneath, but I'm going to put 2. And I'm going to put 2 lines under both 5 and 6 because those are also considered like terms. So I'm grouping terms based on how many lines are underneath the number. So then I'm going to simplify. 3x and 2x make 5x. 5 and 6 make 11. My answer is finished because I cannot combine 5x and 11 because 5x and 11 are not like terms. Moving to the next one, I'll start on the left with 10x. I'm going to look for anything else that is like 10x, and that would be negative 8x. Make sure you note that the 8 is negative. Then I've got 2 and negative 4, so I'm going to give those 2 lines. And again, I'm going to note that the 4 is negative. So 10x minus 8x gives me 2x. and 2 minus 4 gives me negative 2. On to number 3, 12b squared and negative 8b squared are like terms. And then 6b, since it doesn't have the squared next to it, is different, so I'm going to give that one 2 lines. 12b squared minus 8b squared is 4b squared. And then since 6b is the only one with 2 lines underneath it, it's just going to stay the way that it is. Number 4, 4y cubed. I don't see anything else with y cubed, so that's the only one that's going to have 1 line underneath it. I'll jump to 2y next, and I'm going to give that 2 lines. And then 8y also will have 2 lines. I'm going to circle that it's a negative sign. And then 5 all by itself will get 3 lines. So 4y cubed was the only one with 1 line. And then 2y minus 8y is negative 6y. And then 5 is the only one with 3 lines. And number 5. 15x can also be combined with negative 7x. And then 3 is by itself as well. I'm going to put 2 lines under that one. And then negative 2y again is different as well, so that will have 3 lines. 15x minus 7x is 8x. And then I have the 3 next, but technically you should put all variables first. So we're going to do minus 2y and then plus 3. If you wrote 8x plus 3 minus 2y, that could count as well. Few more. This time you're going to notice our problems are a little different. You're going to notice that we have parentheses. If you see a number outside of a parentheses, we're always going to bomb first. Then we're going to do our like terms. So we're going to always go in that order. Don't combine any like terms until you've done your bombing, if there is any. So I'm going to bomb the 7 to the 3x and to the 4. And I'm actually going to start showing my work on the left-hand side first. So then I have 21x, and then 7 times 4 is 28. And then I'm going to add that 3x out in front. Now I can do my underlining. So 3x and 21x are like terms, and then 28 will stay by itself. So 21 plus 3 is 24x plus 28. Number 7, you'll see our parentheses. We've got a 4 outside, so I'm going to bomb the 4 to the 2x, making 8x. I'm going to bomb the 4 to the 3y, making 12y plus 5x. 1 line goes under 8x and 5x. 2 lines goes under 12y, making 13x plus 12y. I can bomb the 2 to the 5x, 10x. Watch that negative. 2 times negative 3y is negative 6y plus 7. 1 line under the 10x, 2 lines under the negative 6y, 3 lines under the 7. You'll notice on that one, none of our terms have the same number of lines underneath, so we can just leave it as it is. 10x minus 6y plus 7. And finally, we have negative 3, bomb to the x, so negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 4 makes positive 12, plus 10, plus 6x. Then if I do my underlining, 1, and 1, 2, and 2. Negative 3x plus 6x is 3x, and 12 plus 10 is 22. Answer your summary by taking the question from the first slide, the essential question, and writing out your sentence. And And then the homework for this lesson is a worksheet.